In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus Live with Simone Eli and Gerhard Mathangani.
Welcome to Southeast Sports Plus, another packed show for you. Nick Saban, the GOAT of college football. Will he make his return back to the game, or will he not? Coach has some colorful words to use about a possible return, directing it at one of his former players. We'll explain all that in just a little bit. It is a Taco Tuesday here on Southeast Sports Plus. Patrick Walsh, our great producer, has Taco Tuesday in our rundown, and I love it. Made me hungry all at the same time.
What's that LeBron quote?
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, I literally want to say that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I heard, didn't he try to trademark that?
I think he did.
And I think that is
I think you're right on that.
Yeah, I think he tried to trademark that. But no, it is a Taco Tuesday. We will be quickly joined by Simone Eli here in just a little bit. Lots going on here at WKRG, celebrating something very, very big as it relates to Nexstar. If those of us in the Nexstar family kind of know what that is as far as the celebration is concerned. And so we have that. And so Simone Eli will be with us in just a little bit. As far as our guests go today, Sam Rothman. I don't know if we've had back-to-back guests on the show here, Patrick.
This is definitely going to be a first.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, it's certainly not going to be the last.
No, it won't. It's just because of the nature of the way that news gets broken in college sports. But Sam, yesterday, when Coach Heupel and the Tennessee staff officially named Joey Aguilar their starting quarterback, we made the call to the pen.
On
we were
the
like,
spot.
On the spot. And Sam was right there on it, and she killed it, did a great job. And her and KCK both do a phenomenal job over there at WATE in Knoxville. And so she'll be on to break that down a little bit more now that they've heard from players and heard from some coaches. That news has been able to digest a little bit as well. So I'm really excited for that and for Tennessee because this does kind of clarify, I think, where we think the Vols will go in this season compared to last year when they made the playoff.
Yeah, and I mentioned, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago now, that I had Joey Aguilar on my SEC fantasy football team. I knew then that he was, it really wasn't a question.
Right.
Joey Aguilar was going to be the starting quarterback. That's just a guy that I know is going to thrive in Josh Heupel's offense.
Yeah.
That dude will just send it all the way down the field.
Yep.
He's going to throw the interceptions. That's been a problem for him.
Yeah.
But, he has the utmost confidence in himself to just really threaten every blade of grass on the field.
No question. It kind of one of those situations that it felt like we were delaying the inevitable. That's the term that I used yesterday with Tennessee's quarterback situation and with Alabama's quarterback situation. And speaking of Alabama, our next guest on coming up a little bit later on in our show will be Arielle Schaefer. She covers the Crimson Tide. You might remember it was 8 days ago, last Monday. She came on after the breaking news that Ty Simpson had won the starting quarterback job, beat out Austin Mack, and beat out Keelan Russell for Alabama's starting gig. So it felt like both quarterback situations, while they probably could have gone deep into fall camp, I think coaches really wanted to be able to say, hey, we have our guy with about 2 weeks to go before you actually kick off in those games.
Yeah, and I'll be excited to see how Ty Simpson will react to the news that we just got over the weekend about running back Jam Miller being out for a decent amount of time.
Right.
That's not really something you want.
Exactly.
Your top running back to go out right before you're about to make your first season as QB1.
Right.
But I believe he's just got to, follow the footsteps of the Alabama quarterbacks in the last few years.
Yeah.
Just be a game manager.
Yep.
Get the ball to your guys. Get the ball out to Ryan Williams out on the edge and just let him go to work.
Yeah. The running game obviously will take a dip, and we'll hear from Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, about the running game situation. But I think you're dead on, Patrick. As long as he's just able to just not put the ball in harm's way and not turn the football over, I think Ty Simpson will be just fine. Alabama, of course, one of the top 10 teams in the preseason poll as it relates to this year. Some other topics from today. Talked about Coach Saban. We talked about Heupel naming Joey Aguilar QB1. Also, college football is officially back. I know we're celebrating the return of college football in the SEC, but overall, college football, it's here this week.
Week 0.
Week
right
0,
around
baby.
the corner.
I know. I've got a big game over in Ireland. And it's great to see that country celebrate college football. We've seen football go overseas. The NFL has done this a lot with sending games to Germany, sending games, I think, are going to Paris here pretty soon. It's been in England a lot. That's Jacksonville's kind of second home, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so, but every, like, the NFL is really putting a lot of products out there in Europe. And now it's good to see college football kind of following in that same suit here, especially with the Week 0 games when the eyes of the country and now the world are on college football.
Yeah, I mean, I think rightfully so, too. You know, American football is really starting to grow outside of just America.
100%.
Traditional football has always been big. And,
100%.
You know, it's always felt like the United States is just trying to catch up to the talent in the rest of the world in that regard.
Yeah.
They did well at the most recent World Cup.
That's very true.
And then they're hosting the World Cup next
hosting the
year.
World Cup, exactly.
But it really is cool to see, you know, these organizations, and even the MLB is starting to do it now with the London series, and I believe it'll fully expand. But I think it's good to grow the game in other aspects of the world.
Right.
I was watching the Sunday Night Baseball game this past weekend. I'm a big Mets fan.
Yeah.
And the ESPN crew had Rob Manfred on the show.
Right.
And so they asked him, they were like, you know, how are you trying to grow the game and stuff like that? And he pointed out to the Japan series to open up the year, typically in March. And he said, you know, I don't want to talk bad about you guys, so to speak, but the numbers we get from that series are the same for an average, like, Sunday night broadcast.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, I mean, he was kind of like dissing them in a way.
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
I mean, it's really cool, though, because Japan, oh my goodness!
If you watch baseball,
I would love to go to Japan just to watch baseball.
And it's so good to see all that talent coming out of Japan and being able to flourish here in the United States. And I think similarly, we're seeing a lot of, like, for example, rugby players that come into football and they play football, and so there's a lot of, like, European/American. I would guess like a synergy, and you mentioned on the soccer front, but I think even on the football front, we're seeing a lot of people both in Canada and in Europe. I know Canada's part of North America, but in Europe, being able to really embrace football. And that's just cool to me, just to be able to see different countries embracing American football, because that's what it's called out there. It's called American football because for them, football is actually soccer, what we call soccer. So it's actually good to really see. But yeah, speaking of football, Coach Saban, the greatest football coach of all time, and we talked about this before. I think it was last week. Some rumors came out, or it was during SEC Media Days.
SEC Media Days,
Day one of Media Days. Nick Saban's former quarterback, Greg McElroy, caused a little bit of a stir there in Atlanta, saying he'd heard from a reliable source that Coach Saban could come back to coaching. Now, Greg McElroy, he's been in the content space for a little while now, so I wonder if part of that was, him
just trying to stir the pot a little bit.
Out there.
Just throw something out there.
Something out there.
We're in the dog days of summer, just trying to get something out there.
Exactly, get it stirred up. But then Lane Kiffin on top of that came out and said, "I'm actually surprised. I'm surprised he's staying another year out of the game. He expected him to be back once again for another season, whether it's in college or in the NFL, back to coaching." So that kind of boiled the waters, so to speak. But Coach Saban, I always will call him Coach Saban, whether he's in the game or not as a coach. But Coach Saban was at the Legacy Awards. This is in Birmingham, Alabama. And the moderators, asked point blankly about Greg McElroy's comments, and I'll just read you verbatim. There's one where I can't say.
Yeah, we can't put that out there.
But he said if they believe that Coach Saban will eventually coach again, basically borrowing off of what Greg McElroy said on the front end. He says, I don't know where that came from. Greg McElroy played quarterback for us. If he had done something like that when he was a player, he would have got his you-know-what kick. So in my opinion, this is, to me, Nick Saban putting to bed all the rumors, all the nonsense that he is actually coming back to coaching. But I thought it was hilarious. But at the same time, too, Patrick, I will say this. At the same time, a lot of times people who want to, I guess, deflect a little bit from everything else, this is the kind of stuff that they say. Just to throw everybody off the scent altogether and say that he's all in on college game day, everything else, not in on coaching. I won't be a bit surprised if maybe not in 25, obviously, but in 26, if the right job opens up. That's the key. It's the right job. Well, if the right job opens, he doesn't go for it.
And that leads me into my next point. It's like, okay, we had no head coaching turnover from the prior season.
Right.
If an SEC job were to open up, which one could you see him taking?
To me, it has to walk a very fine line, because he still has to be able to recruit to that space. to me, it's got to be a place with a lot of financial backing.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Texas A&M. Texas won't be open. Georgia won't be open. Tennessee won't be open. So, I mean, like all the places that I would think that he would have as a possibility and the things that need to be on Nick Saban's checklist, I don't think any of those jobs will be open anytime soon. Maybe Texas A&M if something just disastrous happens with Mike Elko. Where I actually do see him going back to the pros. I can see him scratching that itch because honestly, college football is now pro football. I mean, as far as salary caps, general managers, and everything else, there's a little bit of a balance in between those two spaces. Obviously, smaller rosters, you don't get to control the guys that are on your team. A lot of times, it's the GM doing that job. So, in my opinion, that is the case. Like you are running an NFL scheme, and one of the guys that used to actually was an assistant coach for Nick Saban is Freddie Kitchens. Freddie Kitchens is now the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, sorry, Simone's here.
And welcome Simone.
Welcome. I got in at like a perfect time situation here, talking Nick Saban, and he's not. I mean, what's the latest, guys? I missed the beginning of the show. I had some things I had to take care of. I'm teaching duties for you, girl.
Got to play full.
So Nick Saban's not going to coach.
Well,
so does that mean that your source at SEC Media Days was bad, Patrick? Because
so I did get to interview the guy that did put that out there.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I mean.
So, which is, of course, the background of that. Give us some background on what that all entailed that day when it came out. Greg McElroy, of course, has a show. And on the show, he said that he had inside information, was what it sounded like.
A reliable source.
Reliable source.
Reliable
he
source.
made it sound like he was talking to Nick Saban himself and that the guy was going to come back to coaching. And then he kind of played that off in your conversation with him.
Yeah, he kind of, what I like to call it, did damage control.
Yes. Yes.
You can't just throw Coach Saban's name out there and just not expect it to blow up. Yeah. But, he did say, though, he was like, I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't trust the person that I heard this from.
Right.
But what Nick Saban said yesterday, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it resembled the old Nick Saban, where it's like, you got to keep your players in line.
Right.
And not let them, go crazy or anything. I mean, he was always like, he was very strict, obviously. But.
Yeah. He reminded me of Coach Saban when he was giving when he was giving this quote. If you haven't heard the quote yet, so he was talking at the Legacy Awards, and our friend Lauren Sisler, she asked Coach.
I saw a video of that.
She asked Coach about it, and then he said, "I don't know where it came from." Greg McElroy played quarterback for us. And if he did something like that when he was a player, he would have got his you-know-what kicked. Nice. Something I can't say.
I mean, you can't take the coach. You take the coach out of the game. You can't take the game out of the game, whatever the saying is.
Yes. You can't take the coach out of the guy.
No, that's Nick Saban. But I will say, I don't think the game would hate it. And then you said a minute ago, not to come back to your point, but you said it's got to be somewhere he can recruit. That man could recruit in the middle of the Gulf, man. Like he could go, get anybody to play football for him.
He could recruit, but remember all the things that, for lack of a better word, ticked him off on the way out. It was about how much money and all of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it has to be a perfect situation where it's a place like Michigan, a place with billionaire donors that come back over the top of whatever the house settlement is, $20 million, whatever. The school has to be able to cover that easily, and then a bunch of money on the back end with donors where they could just say, "Hey, Coach Saban wants this guy," and then go pay him.
And I just think that he's just enjoying life, not doing that too much. I mean, can you blame him? All of us enjoy time, Patrick, on the golf course more than we enjoy time. We're just kidding. We love our jobs, but we also love playing golf.
Yeah,
and
we do love playing golf.
If Nick Saban if you're rich enough to be able to make the decision to not work but play a lot of golf,
easy.
Much as I love being here with y'all, I don't know if I'll be on the course with y'all. So. Just saying. But Patrick, what we got next?
Let's go to the other team in Alabama, Auburn.
Oh.
Hugh Freeze.
Auburn Tigers. Hugh Freeze.
Yep.
Here yesterday, 24 hours ago.
We love Hugh Freeze.
We do. The show loves Hugh Freeze. What do you do?
He commented on the possibility of all three quarterbacks getting some action against Baylor in Week 1. He says, yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes, that's happening?
Yes, it's a possibility.
Yes, he's thinking about it?
Yes, it's a possibility. He did not throw away the possibility of all three quarterbacks playing.
I'm going to say something that is very Monday morning quarterback of me to say. But I mean this on everything. I was going to ask him yesterday if there's any shot that he runs like a 2-quarterback system.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't is because when Auburn fans hear that, they kind of start sweating, like break out into sweat and hives a little bit because they're like, the last time I think that anyone tried to do a 2-quarterback system at Auburn, it was not going to go well.
It was a disaster.
And Not to mention, Coach Freeze has been very, very high on Jackson Arnold since he arrived there, in Auburn. And so the thought, which I think is a strong thought that we're already seeing, the thought that it's not going as swimmingly as folks maybe would have hoped, or maybe Coach Freeze would have hoped, I think is a little bit concerning for fans right now.
No question. It has to be because, like you said, this is a guy that walked into your locker room and then automatically you send him to media days to represent your whole team. Had hundreds of players to choose from. He chose that guy who had just got there. Secondly, he's got a really, really good quarterback room as far as talent goes.
Yeah.
As far as pure talent goes. Not experience, but talent. And you think of a guy like Deuce Knight, who's literally from an hour from down here, one of the most highly rated quarterbacks coming into the season.
Yeah.
He has zero experience in the SEC.
Yeah.
And so I think that, yes, while it is an interesting dynamic, I do think part of him saying this is to wake up Jackson Arnold. He said it. You guys might remember this. This was back in the spring. He was at forgive me, Coach. He was at a golf tournament, and he was asked.
I was like, what's he gonna say?
He was asked specifically. He said, "Is Jackson your number one?" He said, "Yes, he's the number one. But do I want him looking behind his shoulder
He did say that,
and saying, hey, Deuce had a really good day. These guys had a really good day." Yes, he wants that too.
He wants people to continue improving. Yeah.
He wants that friction in the quarterback.
Yeah.
So will all three quarterbacks play? In my opinion, no. But I think he put that out there to make sure that Jackson doesn't feel like, oh, well, I'm
it's just
QB1.
The job is mine. I'm comfortable.
Correct.
Yeah. I think, and really quick, what I want to say is to say that he's going to possibly play three quarterbacks against, the Little Sisters of the Poor. If they were opening, the season against somebody who wasn't Baylor, playing three quarterbacks is very standard. This is a very normal
100%.
thing, right? We expect to see everybody go out there and get some live snaps in a game that you're very, very excited. What is the line on that game? Like, what is the
line on the Baylor game or the line on the
Auburn Baylor game? Who's favored in the game? I don't even know.
Guanji money.
Let me go back. Let me go back and make sure.
This is my resident betting guy, so I expect
resident
to have
Pacers fan. He's the resident betting guy.
Yes, and
Simone's the resident golfer.
You know what? While I look it up, everybody take a guess. Everybody take a guess while I look it up.
Oh man.
Baylor.
Oh,
I'm gonna say
man. Okay, I'm gonna say
it's at Baylor.
Okay, I'm gonna say that Baylor is favored by 3.
Baylor 5.5.
I promise you I haven't pulled this up. I'm gonna say.
I
say Baylor by a field goal. You said 3.
If I'm close, I'm gonna feel like you'll never hear the end of this. You'll never hear the end of this if I'm close.
Simone Eli. Would you say? You say Auburn or Baylor?
Baylor 5.5.
And you said Baylor favored?
I said Baylor by 3.
Oh no! Flip that whole thing.
Is Auburn
y'all
favored?
7 points off. Auburn's a 2.5 point favorite
What?
on the road. Yeah. Auburn's a 2.5 point favorite on the road.
Has the line changed? Can you see trends?
No, I saw the open. The open is 2.5, and the spread is 2.5.
Did it change when Hugh Freeze threw his visor? as the visor was going towards the ground, the line changed.
Our friends
said, you know what? Go 2.5 the other way.
Changes it on the fly.
The over/under is plus 57.5. So that's what projected score around 26 to 24, somewhere in there. Auburn winning that game 26-24, so around there.
I think a couple things. I know I made the point about if it wasn't Baylor, obviously saying you're going to play 3 quarterbacks. The question would not have presented if it was not Baylor. No one would have asked that question.
Yes.
If it was a group of 5 school that it didn't have a chance. Number 2, I think that what Coach Freeze said in a press conference yesterday and then again on our show is that he feels like he has not had a chance to see Jackson Arnold in his element enough to really get a good full scope as to what he can do on the field.
Right.
They think he's going to be very solid outside of the pocket when the guy has to extend to the play, when he has to make plays with his feet and muscle ahead for that first. Right now, there's no live snaps. Nobody's going to hit the quarterback.
Yeah.
And he argues that the SEC officials, who are damned if they do, damned if they don't, are sitting here and saying, hey, they're blowing the whistle too early. Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
We're going to find out in a couple Fridays.
Because they're not going to blow the whistle early in Waco.
Yeah.
So those Baylor defenders, coached by Dave Aranda, who is a defensive coach, this team is well. Everybody talks about this Baylor offense and going into this game, the storyline will be Auburn's offense versus Baylor's offense. But keep in mind, Dave Aranda is still the coach of this team, and Dave Aranda is a really good defensive coach.
Yeah, I think that that number is high.
57.5 the total.
If this is a 17-10 knockdown drag out, nobody can move it.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be glad you're coming out on the winning
for
end.
a week 1 game too. for a quarterback that transferred in to a new system. Who might have his confidence just shot by the whole 3 quarterbacks thing. But I don't know.
So basically, if I'm deducing this right, the Southeast Sports Plus team is saying, put some money on Baylor in the under.
You know what, Coach Freeze, we still love you. Number 1.
We do love you.
And number 2, yes. And number 3, we're going to find out. On August 29th, we are going to find out when Auburn on a Friday night with the lights of the country shining on you and high school football across the Southeast as well. Auburn Tigers are going to go open it up over there at Baylor. And, I do think that I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a situation where Jackson Arnold is rolled out there. He's the guy. And maybe he is the guy for a game or 2. Who's Auburn got second? Do we know where they go after that? Are they at home? Eventually South Alabama
Ball
somewhere?
State, then South Alabama, and then I think.
But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, I don't know if it's early in the game against Baylor or if it's just early in the season, that Jackson Arnold gets into some sort of a slump where they throw a Deuce Knight in there and he goes and mixes things up a little bit or enough to get people talking, to get people hey, because when you're a freshman, you go in wide-eyed and you don't know what you don't even know. You're still trying to figure out where the bathrooms are in the football complex, and so you can go in there and just look at him. He's athletic.
Oh, no question.
And the kid towers over people.
Yeah,
he's gonna be good.
He looks the part.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw somebody go in and mix it up a little bit.
Do you think that will remind him too much of what he tried to do with Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford?
I think he'll remind him of everything that he tried to do. That doesn't mean he won't do it.
We've seen a 2-quarterback system win a national championship with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow way back in the day.
The game has changed, dog. What year was that?
And the game that was that was freshman.
1912.
That was Tebow's freshman year. So, he's been out of the game for a hot minute.
Yeah.
But 2-quarterback system, it is interesting. But he said the possibility of possibly playing all 3, which is.
Yeah. Well, we're going to, speaking of quarterbacks, we're going to hit a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to check in with our girl, Sam Rothman, the latest on Joey Aguilar, QB1, after a tweet put out by the school to make it official. We'll have that report and much more from Rocky Top. That's next. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Simone, Eli, Gerhard, Patrick joining you as we are excited to head over to Knoxville. Our girl Sam Rothman pulling double duty. Yesterday, she showed up and totally answered the call. We're like, hey, why are we going to sit here and try to talk about the Tennessee quarterback situation? Why not go to the expert, our girl, Sam Rothman? Thank you so much for joining us there from Knoxville. Good to see you again for a second straight day. How you feeling? How's it going on this, what day is Tuesday?
Tuesday, I'm doing good, and thanks for having me on again. Hey, we can talk about this all day. It's good.
Absolutely. Tell us about how the day has gone. I understand that you were at practice earlier today, and those are closed practices right now under Josh
Closed
Heupel?
practices,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so tell us about the day. Yep.
So, yes, we just talked to Heupel this morning about, 2 hours ago, basically talked about the decision at the end of the day. He said it was about commands and control of the offense. Joey showed that, and he loved how Joey has progressed each and every single day. He said every single day you saw him getting better. We talked about it yesterday. He didn't have a lot of time to get used to this offense. He came in May, and now we're a week and a half away from the season. So he missed spring. He did spring practice at home back in California, and he came here, and he was in the facility from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We talked about it. It was his job to lose, and he made sure he didn't lose it. He put in the work, and at the end of the day, he has the most experience in college football, and he showed that, and that's why he won the competition.
Yeah, Sam, tell me this. When you watch these guys just on the field, when you've watched the quarterback competition, has it stood out to you? And I don't mean in his play and his arm. I mean in just his leadership abilities. Has it stood out to you that this is the guy who has just won the team over? Is it very obvious?
Yeah, it was obvious just even talking to other players, and I think that's a big thing is they say that he's only been here for a little while, but they feel like, I think Miles Kitselman said he's invited to his wedding. He's already one of his best friends here just because of the close relationship. Yeah, the close relationship that he's already made with his teammates, and we talked about that yesterday, taking them out to dinner, having pool days and all that, and I think that has really carried over to the field, and you see that, him taking control of the offense, talking to his receivers, talking to his tight ends, also talking to the two other guys who are competing for the job. I mean, he came in, and those guys, obviously want that job too, but he is a fifth-year senior, so he has a lot of expertise and wisdom and experience to share, and I saw him doing that a lot of times, especially with George McIntyre, who is a true freshman.
Sam, I found it really interesting. We talked about the gambling line on the Auburn Baylor game, and I honestly go back to this because Vegas is a neutral party. And I did see the line. The line for the Syracuse game, it didn't move very much, but it moved a little bit since the news came out. Syracuse went from a 12-point underdog to a 13-point underdog. So basically, they're saying that Joey Aguilar is, I guess, worth a point in this game as far as the way that they value him overall. I haven't seen the college football overall odds, but from a standpoint of where this team is in relationship to another spot in the playoff, as it is in their standing for a spot in the championship. How much closer does Joey Aguilar put them as compared to the other guys? Because it sounds like Vegas says, at least about the first game, it didn't matter what quarterback started. They believed enough in Josh Heupel that it didn't matter what quarterback played. But as far as you expand the season out further, how much closer are they to repeating the success of last year?
Yeah, I think it's so hard to tell right now. There's just too many question marks, and I think the biggest question mark you're looking at there are some wide receiver question marks, which you got good news today. You see Chris Brazel on your screen right now. He was day-to-day, really not participating in full practice, but now he is. He's back. Mike Matthews is back. Braylon Staley's back. That was huge news that we found out today with the wide receivers. Again, they're young and experienced, but the fact that they're healthy now, I think talking about, chances at a college football playoff, well, that's only going to help that they have, healthy guys on their roster. But I think at the end of the day with the offense, it's going to come down to the run game. They don't have Dylan Sampson anymore, but they have three guys who they feel really strong about. And we talked to Heupel today about how, 2022, we saw that offense with Hendon Hooker. They got away from that the past 2 seasons. Are we going to see that again? Yes, Joey likes to throw the ball. We know that, but I still think Heupel's become a little more conservative as he has, each year he's been here, and he likes to run the ball. He always says, we're Tennessee, we like to run the ball. So I think that's as far as Tennessee goes. You know what you're getting on defense. They're going to be as good or maybe even better than last year. The question mark is the offense. But if those running backs can, I'm not saying be Dylan Sampson, but if they can contribute the same way between the three of them, I do think they have a good shot. Tennessee doesn't have the worst schedule in the world when it comes to the SEC. Of course, they're going to have those Florida, Alabama, those tough games. But I do think if all the puzzle pieces fit, that they have a good shot.
Yeah, Sam, we're going to take a listen to what you got from Josh Heupel earlier today when he was speaking about his quarterback decision and rolling with Joey Aguilar.
Joey coming in May, having to learn the offense throughout the late spring, summertime, getting his feet on the grass with our guys, learning how we practice, but also growing each day. Just continued to trend upward in his comfort and control and command of what we're doing. That's decision making, accuracy with the football, our checks that he controls. You put all that together, and that's ultimately why we made the decision.
That's Coach talking about the decision to go with Joey Aguilar from a play-to-play, series-to-series progression of this offense. How much of it will look like it did last year with Nico Iamaleava and Dylan Sampson? Because last year I felt like they had a perfect balance, even though Dylan was so good at running the football and Nico was so talented. Do you think, as far as a play call goes, do you think that they basically run the same kind of plays? Same kind of calls?
I'm glad you asked this question. Sam, I want you to answer it. I just want to offer something because as our brains, I swear it's scary sometimes, Gerhard and I, like we share a same brain on a lot of things, especially what we like to eat. But it looked as though last year, in terms of passing attempts, they're at 374, okay? And any guesses on what the number is for rushing attempts?
Probably balanced. Probably relatively balanced.
Sam?
I would say more.
A lot more.
Yeah.
584.
Oh wow! So,
so significantly.
It was a run-heavy team.
So I want to go back to Gerhard's question, but to be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised by that number myself because part of that, of course, can be in the RPO game and things like that, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I just from a little bit of Tennessee that I've watched, under Heupel, I feel as though it's very pass heavy, and then you look at the numbers, and they don't. That's not really what they say.
Yeah, I mean those stats in my question kind of walk hand in hand. Like how similar to dissimilar will this offense be? We'll turn to the expert.
Well, I wasn't here that 2022 year, and I think that's where everyone got that sense of just throwing the ball, this offensive explosion. The past 2 years I've been here, it's been Joe Milton and Nico, and the same kind of thing. It's been a run-first team. Even though Joe Milton can throw it, 90 yards across the field, it was still a run-heavy team. And obviously with Dylan Sampson last year, that was an obvious choice. But the year before that, they had Jalen Wright, who also could just break free and run it all the way back. This year, they have to do that again, especially with a new quarterback, with Joey. He likes to throw the ball, but we talked about it yesterday. The interceptions are a worry. So I do think that it's going to come down to the run game. There's three guys they feel strong about. Are they going to be able to all three have that same production as last year? I don't know about that. That's a big thing. But last year what we saw was throughout non-conference, Tennessee was averaging over like 50, 60 points a game. It was just ridiculous. And Nico looked like he was going to win the Heisman. I wouldn't be shocked if during non-conference that Tennessee's offense looks like that again, and maybe you don't see as much as that run game. But when it gets into the SEC and you're going up against SEC defenses, I think that's when the run game is really going to be the most important. And maybe we'll see Joey take not a step back in terms of being more cautious and not taking as many risks, but maybe RPO and really relying on Peyton Lewis, Deshaun Bishop, and those guys.
Yeah, and one thing about Josh Heupel is he's a smart coach. Okay, there's a lot of coaches, and I don't know how many times I've talked to Gerhard about this, most especially at the high school level. But there's a lot of coaches who are so adamant about their scheme that they don't often look at their roster. Now, here's the deal. In high school, well, at least how it's supposed to go by the rules, you don't get to pick and choose what your roster looks like. That's what the rules say. It's not often what is actually happening. That's what the rules say. It's you're supposed to play the hand that you get. But some coaches, rather than adapting to their talent, they're like, we're gonna be in empty and they don't have anybody to throw the ball. That's a problem, right? Okay, well, in college, you do recruit people to your scheme. However, in 2022, with Hendon Hooker, who we know, threw it a mile and threw it well, it was a way more balanced attack. I think it was a difference of less than 100 in terms of attempts for passing and running the football. And so I think that one thing that we figured out about Josh Heupel, Gerhard, is that he's a guy who will commit to the guys that he has there and then also adjust over time if needed with the scheme. And like he has, he's got a great running back. Let's run the ball. You got somebody that can make a good decision there in the passing game. Then trust them to make that decision. And I think as though he is the type of guy who will adjust as needed based on what the roster looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll put his quarterbacks in the best position to win. And honestly, and Sam talked about it, I think, beautifully with the fact that he did the same thing with Hendon Hooker, did the same thing with Joe Milton, and then last year. So then now it's a different kind of turn with a quarterback, very, very talented. But he did not play in the SEC last year. He put up spectacular numbers, but he played at App State, and there's obviously we cover a team that is in that same conference. They're in the Sun Belt. We know there's a lot of great players that have made that transition from the Sun Belt to the SEC. Sam, from a talent perspective, how quickly do you think that Joey Aguilar will be able to adapt to the secondaries that he sees? Because the secondaries that he saw last year in the Sun Belt will be completely different from the ones that he sees this year, and not just the secondaries, the defenses overall, the front seven, as well as the back four.
Yeah, we talked to Joey at Media Day at the start of training camp. We're talking to him tomorrow, too, so it'll be interesting but we talked basically about that, about the interceptions and all of that, and he basically talked about it's about him playing smart, and then he said smarter, that where maybe if he sees like a deep ball's 50-50, instead of doing that, how many times can we throw it 4, 5, 6 yards, get down the field, keep getting those first downs? So I think we might see that kind of approach with Joey, especially since he'll be going up, like you said, against these SEC defenses. But also the big question there is who he has around him. With the wide receivers, there's so many question marks. Chris Brazel's the only returning starter. He didn't even start all the games. It's mostly redshirt freshmen, true freshmen. They're inexperienced too. So how are they going to do? It's kind of really new when it comes to the passing game. That's why the running game is going to be so important, because there's just so many questions. I just don't think it's Joey. It's the wide receivers too that is going to be really interesting to see, not only the first couple of games, but once they get into SEC play. And it doesn't get easy. They start with Georgia. So that's going to be a true test for sure.
Sam, shifting to the other side of the ball, one of the first topics that we talked about when we launched Southeast Sports Plus was Boo Carter and the kind of the situation with the defensive back there for Tennessee, kind of what was going on in terms of him holding out, kind of hanging out. We're not really sure. Patrick, let's listen into what Josh Heupel had to say, and then we'll get Sam Rothman's take on the latest on Boo Carter.
Boo's continue to grow on the things that we're asking him to be a great teammate inside of this building every single day, and the charge for him, but for all of us, is to continue to do that. And Boo's continue to grow in what he's doing on the field. So I'm excited and pleased with a lot of things that we've seen from him.
Well, I think that it was one of those like get right or get left type situations. Sam Rothman and Josh Heupel we know he said, okay, bye, Nico. He ain't gonna play these games with Boo. He ain't gonna play with these games.
No.
And Boo had to figure that out.
Yeah. Here's at the end of the day, Tennessee and Josh Heupel need Boo, and Boo needs them, because it's too late for him to jump ship. I mean, he can't go anywhere. So it's either, like you said, like get straight or you're left.
Get right
nowhere.
or get left.
I think
it's one of my favorite sayings.
Get right or get left. I'm gonna start saying that.
Yeah, you should. If you ever have a man, tell him that all the time. Get right or get left, my dog.
Perfect.
Get right or get left.
I'm gonna tell him blame Simone Eli for that quote.
Honestly, thanks Simone Eli for that quote is what I would like to say.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, like we talked about, he was during the winters when these rumors started that he wanted more money and he wanted to play offense. Well, that was promised to him. But then it starts with training camp, and it was voluntary workouts. But when 3/4 of your team and all your team is there and you're not there and you're over in California, that's a problem. So obviously that was not taken well by his teammates, coaches, and all of that. So he was placed on, you need to work your way up. And in the beginning of practice, he was just stretching. He was doing individual work. And each time we saw practice, he was getting more and more involved, and he has been involved in the scrimmages. The question now is what Josh Heupel was referring to was how involved is he going to be? And at this point, I don't think that he is going to get what he wanted and play on offense. I mean, I just think maybe he ruined that a little bit. It's first, like, you came here to be a defensive back. That's what you need to earn back. And then maybe as the season progresses. But I think it's big what Heupel said that he's really liked about how he has, gotten straight and put in the work and has been a good teammate. Number one is being a good teammate, and he's done that We've seen that at practice, so it's going to be something to watch. But if I were to guess right now, he starts the season on defense, what he came to Tennessee to do, and maybe that offense, if he plays well and earns the respect, maybe he'll get those chances.
Sam, before we let you go here, I know yesterday
Yes.
you said you were a Syracuse Newhouse grad.
I am.
And we talked about Tennessee and Syracuse opening up the season in Atlanta. You talked a little bit about Joey Aguilar. The Orange have a new quarterback, Steve Angeli, coming over from Notre Dame. Can you kind of give us a little bit of insight into, the Fran Brown era? Give some of the SEC people a little bit of, like, hey, who is Fran Brown? And
who is Fran Brown? JK.
Well, Fran Brown, we learned last year that if he doesn't win, he doesn't earn a shower. So he takes this job very seriously. Like,
what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
Or back.
I missed this.
Right?
What?
Yeah.
Winners get washed.
I'm so disturbed by the last 4 seconds of this conversation.
So if you're in the Fran Brown family, if you're at practice with him in his household, you're really hoping that Syracuse wins some games this year, just for everyone's sake. But yeah, I mean, he has changed that program. Honestly, when I was there, Syracuse was not very good, and what they were able to do last year was just incredible. Now, they lost a lot of those pieces. Obviously, they lost their quarterback. They lost a lot of those wide receivers, a lot of those offensive pieces, but they have Steve Angeli coming in. It was another quarterback competition. He was battling LSU transfer Ricky Collins. He won the job. That was also announced yesterday, so they obviously feel strongly about him. I do know that he's not very mobile as a quarterback, so that'll be interesting with Tennessee's defense. They're going to get to him. It's just going to happen.
We have to address something really quick, okay? Because my husband coaches high school football, and he was 3-7 last year, okay? I'm not trying to hate. They're in a rebuild. But if that man didn't shower after 7 losses, I'm telling you right now, get right or get left, dog. Get right or get left.
Simone's like, I don't even care about the quarterback. I don't care. We need to go back to this whole bathing routine.
I'm telling you, I do not care what your rituals are. I don't care if you've got any sort of voodoo that you got to do after a game to win the next game. Fran Brown, nothing. If you ain't taking a shower, you living somewhere else, dog.
Losing stinks,
dog. He said in his post-game interview, and then they were like, he's like, I get to get a shower today, and he stuck his tongue out. He was all excited, like,
oh man.
Yeah.
I just brushed. Like when we lose, I ain't even get in the shower till earlier this morning. I just be mad. I'm just reading the quote. I just brushed my teeth. It's like I don't deserve soap. I don't deserve to. Is this guy married? Is he married? Hold on.
He is married. He is married.
Well, there you go.
Married with children. Yeah.
Do you want me to reenact the I think it was the Cal interview. Was it after they beat Cal?
Why don't we see? We don't get these type of personalities in the SEC. Okay? We don't look at this other thing. I mean, every now and then Eli gives us something to remember, but like we don't get this type of content. We need to.
So I think he was talking, and then he said something about winners get washed, and then
I'm so disgusted by this. I really am.
I don't remember who it was. He was like, "Winners get washed." He goes, "Yeah, I'm getting washed."
Winners get washed.
Winners get washed.
Is that like a team effort thing, or like what does that mean? I mean,
well, his team motto is DART. I think.
I hope not, Sam. DART.
DART. I think it's discipline, attitude, relentlessness, toughness. Well, I think that's what it is.
DART.
But now it's
also Tennessee is favored by 2 touchdowns. What happens if they lose by 2 or more touchdowns? That's
Sam,
my worry for the entire city of Syracuse.
Well, I am hammering the Syracuse money line. Not just the cover, the money line.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're going to find out. Well, Sam's got a broadcast to get to. Sam Rothman is pulling like triple duty at this point because now we're having to report twice in 2 days. Now on other conferences, other coaches who don't shower, and a lot going on. And so, Sam, we genuinely appreciate you coming on Southeast Sports Plus. It's always fun. It's always memorable.
Thanks so much for having me, and we'll talk next week. Game week.
Can't wait. Game week, y'all. Game week is almost here. All right, guys. Winners get washed.
Winners get washed, baby. Hey, but by the way, that money line, plus 425. Plus 425.
So, you know,
sounds like free money to me.
At some point, and then we have to go to break, but the next hour and 13 minutes, y'all are going to enlighten me on what it is that you're talking about.
Done and done.
All right. We'll be right back.
21 wins in the last 2 years. So, these players have been talked to a lot about that, and that's hopefully why they came here, was understanding that, what we've been able to achieve and the level that we want to play at and expect to play at. 3 winningest programs since COVID in the SEC, including the new programs, are Georgia, Alabama, and Ole Miss. And that's our expectation and standards of how we expect to play.
Lane Kiffin, another year at Ole Miss, looking to get kind of that next level there with the Rebels program. He's been close.
Mm-hmm.
Is he in a rebuild year? Is he in a restock year? Is everybody in that?
Restocking for sure, but this is a program that's seen a lot of success. And as he just said moments ago, hey, it's one of those where we now expect to be a team that wins double-digit games per season. We're not hoping, crossing our fingers and hoping that we're 8-9 wins. They're expecting 9-10.
Yep. Well, we're going to hit another quick break really quick, guys. When we come back, CBS Sports released their biggest overrated and underrated teams. We had a couple interviews go a little long early in the show, so we're going to hit a quick break. We will have that and more coming up next. Stay with us. Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Patrick Walsh, Gerhard Mathangani, Simone Eli joining you from our studio here in Mobile, and appreciate all the folks across Nexstar Nation taking the show live here. Our first hour wrapping up. Before we wrap things up, want to talk about CBS Sports releasing their most overrated and underrated teams. Mm-hmm. Patrick, let's take a look at some of the most overrated teams right now, according to the CBS Sports experts. Gerhard, experts.
Well, we'll use that in air quotes.
That's what I'm saying.
Depending on what you want to see. So what you're looking at right here are the teams right now, their current ranking in the AP preseason poll, and the Vegas number for their over/under win. So you kind of get a full context.
Okay, I was wondering what the number was. Okay, yes. Okay. So the number is not like their overrateability.
No.
I mean, CBS called themselves experts, and so I thought maybe they would have made up a term too. So, all right. So Texas, Patrick, the most overrated team in the SEC, is that the most overrated team in college football? They're saying.
What they're saying is that overrated in the SEC, and they made mention that it's not about Arch Manning. This was more so about how Texas was able to get to that doorstep 2 times, 2 straight years, and now that they're there, can they absolve the pressure of being a semifinalist 2 times, and now you're back and competing with Alabama, back competing with Georgia.
I mean,
of course,
how can the number 1 overall team
same thing. I was literally saying
be overrated?
That's why I asked you. That's why I asked, is it overrated in the what is it? I mean, it's number one team. I guess by default you become the most overrated. I don't know, because you're the number one team unanimously. Maybe that's why.
I'm trying to think of overrated teams that were number one in the preseason, and I have to go to a different sport, college basketball. I'm pretty sure UNC a few years ago was a preseason number one and became the first preseason number one to miss March Madness entirely.
Altogether.
Yeah, and then last year they should have missed it. They didn't. So the South Carolina, I know. Wait till basketball season starts, guys. Real quick, we have like 40 seconds in this block. South Carolina, I agree on South Carolina. Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee rounds out the top 5 most overrated. I do think South Carolina's up there pretty strong.
I think so too. And South Carolina, what they pointed to is the fact they are losing so much on defense going into this year. 6 of the 7 top tacklers from last year's team are now off this team. So can they even replicate that? Same thing with Ole Miss. Lost Jackson Dart and lost a ton of talent. Yeah,
most underrated teams, guys. LSU, A&M, Missouri, Oklahoma. To Oklahoma, they still got to prove it. LSU, I wouldn't be surprised because I'm not very high on LSU, but everybody else in the world is, including Patrick Walsh. He says they're going to win the SEC beyond.
And that article said dark horse national championship team. It is. Listen, as I said, this is the number 9 team under overrated.
We'll see you next hour.
Outbound transmission?
Affirmative.
Crew ready?
Check.
Signal lock?
Check.
Downstream stations online?
Linked and locked.
Let's light this candle.
Flame on.
In 3, 2, roll show open.
In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus Live with Simone Eli and Gerhard Mathangani.
Welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus. Simone Eli, Gerhard Mathangani, Patrick Walsh joining you for our second hour of the show. Patrick, Gerhard, we are inching closer to kickoff of college football officially. Week 1, week 0, week whatever you want to call it, that's what's here.
Exactly. So, yeah, starting this week, actually. I know a lot of people are really celebrating that August 30th, Auburn playing August 29th, but the real fun of the college football season actually begins this weekend with week 0.
Yeah, and it's going to begin in Ireland. Mm-hmm. And so they've been doing this for a minute. College football began playing in Ireland in 1988 with the first ever game between Boston College and Army. And as we know, like the NFL has gone out of the country, and the fan base there is enormous. It's always something very, very impressive, and that's what we're going to get this week as week 0 kicks off the season. They're not in the United States.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting matchup because it's two teams that are in the top 25. Now, I don't know if they're in the top 25 to make this game a little bit more high profile. We can debate that later, but Kansas State.
When was it determined? When was it
was determined a while ago. Yeah.
Gerhard,
we already have 2 future games.
Is that a diss against the Big 12?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean.
So you're saying that maybe they were voted there to make to put put a number next to these two teams that are there in Ireland?
Iowa State slid in at number 22, and Iowa State didn't have a bad season. They didn't, but I like Kansas State, and I think Coach Clemens does a phenomenal job over there, and that's a good program. Iowa State, to me, we'll see.
Well, I mean, Iowa State, they made the Big 12 championship game last year. Rocco Beck, their quarterback, he's pretty good.
Dropping knowledge, P. Walsh.
Yeah.
You know,
but who won?
He said I got the receipts,
Big
Gerhard. What are you talking about?
Resident Big 12 guy.
Yeah.
Resident ACC and Big 12.
But okay, so the 2 questions back at you. Number 1, who won the Big 12? And 2, was it not true that they said that if they were just ranking the top 14 teams or top 12 teams, that the Big 12 champion wouldn't have even been into the, you know how they had 2 different rankings last year? They had a regular ranking, they had the playoff ranking, and the seeding, and then they had
I really hated all
a regular ranking. As opposed to the regular ranking, I think Arizona State was 15? They wouldn't have made the playoffs in a straight bracket. But they made the playoffs because they won the Big 12 championship.
Thank God.
I'm not watering down the Big 12.
Thank God they figured out that was not the way to do the seeding in the college football playoff. And they made that change by the next year. That was we don't have to wait on that one.
You know it's bad when all of your conference champions that had byes lost.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yes, Arizona State won. It's Cam Scatterboo. Just put the whole team on his back.
Oh, my gosh, that guy.
I mean, he almost took down Texas single-handedly.
By himself. Yeah.
By himself. As much as I like Steve Sarkisian, y'all know I'm a big Sark girl, that was actually kind of cool to watch. Because I like that guy.
That was fun.
And you know what? Honestly, even though he was kind of one of those crap talkers, in your face, he backed it up too. Though. That guy was on the field all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was entertaining to watch. It really was.
Yeah, and a former Auburn assistant, Kenny Dillingham, is their coach over there. He's a character. He's a character in and of himself. He was the OC. I think by title alone, I think he was the OC for Gus Malzahn.
What game was that?
It was the game where they stormed the field. It was.
Remember you were watching that together.
You and I were watching that game.
Together.
Yeah.
What game was that, though? What game was that?
I will pull it up
They're on the field, and his wife is there. I mean, I'm a coach's wife, so I always just have eyes on if the coach's wife is. I mean, first of all, we've never seen a coach's wife on the field trying to get their husband to chill out towards like the officials. He's talking to the television, like everyone thinks the game is over.
Yeah,
it was like
they stormed the field.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How are they going to get people off? But they ended up having to get people off the field, and then they had to like play
one
more
last
down
play.
or something like that.
Yeah.
What was that?
I'll pull that game up because it was a was it the I think it was a Central Florida game that ended 35-31. It's either that. It wasn't the Kansas game. I think it was that Central Florida game or the BYU game. Was it the BYU? It might have been the BYU game.
No, I don't think that it was. Patrick, you're a what are you? What did you say? You're a resident.
Our resident Big 12 guy.
But Gerhard, I want to go back to your point earlier about K-State being a good program. Who did they develop that was just a national champion last year? National champion quarterback Will Howard.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot Will Howard did start there in old Manhattan, the other Manhattan.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
that's very true.
Everyone wants to hate on the Big 12. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, little brother."
It was the BYU game.
I just pulled it up at the same time too. I don't know for some I felt like there was something more, like there was more at stake than the BYU game. Was it?
There was because those two teams were at the top of the Big 12 at the time.
Yes.
And it was whoever won that game.
Basically
had the fast track to the Big 12 championship and a spot in the college football playoff.
Sure.
And so that's what ended up happening. But no, you're right. Will Howard did go to K-State. You think about those old days with K-State. To me, K-State is a really good program, and I think that they'll be well supported. I think they'll have a good season this year as well.
Goalpost back up.
Yes. Yeah. The goalpost came down and everything. Yeah.
Man, that was that was crazy. That was crazy. And so I think moral of the story, guys, is that college football is going to start this week. Patrick, the matchup and the details on that, what day, and who are we looking forward to? Top 25 matchup.
Yeah, K-State versus Iowa State here this year. That a Big 12 matchup. Interestingly enough, when I was researching the Aer Lingus Classic, no SEC team has ever gone to Ireland and played in it. As you can see in the future, it's UNC TCU next year, which that's going to be another great matchup, and then Pittsburgh, Wisconsin. I just think it's very interesting that, Gerhard and I talked off the top of the show about different leagues, professional, going overseas and expanding their brand over there. What better way to expand the brand of college football than by sending the SEC over there? But I know you can make the argument like, oh, the SEC, that's the premier conference in college football. You can't take a home game away from them. But why don't you, since we like to move these non-conference games to neutral sites, why don't we make a neutral site, non-conference, SEC versus Big Ten? No, not Big Ten.
Well,
SEC, ACC.
Here's the deal. So Greg Sankey was actually asked about this in the spring meetings here in Destin back in May. And the article that I have pulled up here is the SEC isn't going international, at least not in the immediate future. That Greg Sankey said the league will not play games overseas anytime soon, despite some preliminary discussions about the idea. He admitted they were in conversations. However, taking games off SEC campuses and moving them across the world just wouldn't be feasible. This is what he said in quote from Greg Sankey about games overseas. The economics of our stadiums are just very different from our colleague conferences that have been a part of that. The displacement of home games in our communities and stadiums might be 85 to 100,000 plus, and relocating that, the logistical costs and timing, that's a challenge. But the loss of that home gate is really a challenge.
100%.
And he's not wrong.
100%.
Because you have to think about these towns that house SEC. We just talked about this the other day.
And you heard it. You heard it at the top of the show earlier, a little bit earlier.
The towns that house SEC schools.
Yeah.
Their entire bread and butter, the economics of a Tuscaloosa, of an Auburn, of a Starkville.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get like really, like in the weeds, in the sticks, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's where these and everything about those businesses is based on those home games. So you take a home game out of there, and people are losing jobs.
Right.
People are probably not feeding their children, maybe not getting missing working hours. The businesses there. I mean, it's a good point. And kudos to Greg Sankey. This is a guy, he does not make mistakes. I'm just telling you, he does not make mistakes. That guy thinks of everything.
And he understands the power of his product. And to Patrick's point, I think that the only way that even could happen is if it is
And he brought that up, non-conference matchup.
And the SEC team is the road team. That is the only way that that's the only way that it works out. Because to your point, take out Austin, Texas. Every single one of these are in college communities that need that.
Did you read this article?
I did not.
The next quote, as it continues. We've had some conversations around maybe non-conference games that might be an away game.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, well, look at the new commissioner of the SEC, following Greg Sankey.
Greg Sankey, I'll send you a message on
the strength of the conference, though, in the communities means too much. And so, I think that, and he feels also that, they don't really need the spotlight as much, maybe to I'm going to read between the lines here, is that they feel well established. And we know Greg Sankey's very confident. There's a reason that we have an SEC show.
For sure. Yeah.
I've said this once or twice.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah.
And the reason we have an SEC show.
And he understands there's a certain thing, and this is a deeper conversation that I've always wanted to have about sending sports overseas. Because whenever big-time soccer used to come to the United States, it wasn't, at the time, it wasn't Cristiano Ronaldo and David Beckham. It wasn't their superstars. They would send those teams over, but those stars would not play. Yeah. And I was always get mad at the NFL because the NFL would send over our best players. Send over Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and it's like, hey, we don't get their best. Why are they getting our best?
Yep.
Greg Sankey knows the product that he's sitting on.
Yeah.
We are the best in college football. Number one, we're not ever going to take a home game away. And secondly, why put a game? Why when you can do something like Tennessee's doing this weekend, going to a neutral site city to Atlanta where their fans can go to, whether it was a road game or a home game, or let's just say it's in Jerry World, or let's just say it's in San Francisco. Tennessee fans will travel there. Will Tennessee fans go to London? Will Tennessee fans go to Dublin? I don't think so. And so I get it from an economic standpoint, but Greg Sankey understands the product that he's holding. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we don't have to go exploit this in Tokyo and in Paris and other places. We make enough for it right here, and it is growing right here. I like that approach to what he's got.
Yeah.
I think eventually we will see it, but not anytime in the near future.
Yeah.
But if we have this college football playoff expansion, which the Big Ten is now throwing around 20-plus teams, why don't we get all of the – go overseas earlier in the season, kind of like what the MLB does,
right?
With the London series and the Japan series.
Yeah.
Use that to broaden your reach, and then make the real money by more college football playoff games and more college football playoff games on campus.
Right.
That's where you're really going to make your money. Not really. Yeah. You're not going to make as much money as in a meaningless non-conference game because right now they feel meaningless.
Yeah.
Than you would in a college football playoff game where you are going to have fans that are going to be rowdy. Mm-hmm. They're going to show out.
Yeah.
And they're going to be into it.
Yeah. I think Sankey's response would be, well, Patrick, we want both.
Yeah. And, I think that the more and more that we add football games to the schedule. Mm-hmm. I mean, how often did people complain about the NFL adding games? I mean, this game is not. It's not an easy game. Mm-hmm. I didn't play it.
Right.
Gerhard, you played it.
Yeah.
But I certainly can watch it. It's hard on the body.
Yes, it is. It is.
I mean, adding games to the basketball schedule is one thing. Baseball, nothing against baseball players, Patrick. But
play 182.
You're not getting hit.
Yeah.
Every single down, every single second, and taking this. The more games that we add, the more they better. One. The house settlement might want to double because these players, at some point, there's going to be an association on that side, like there is in the NFL, that says, "Hey, okay, yeah, y'all go ahead and add us. We'll go over to London and we'll go, and we'll do this and we'll play 2 more playoff games, and y'all go ahead and double that check because what's my longevity in my life going to look like? It's fun for the fans.
For sure.
It's fun for the 3 of us to talk about games, but you have to think about it from the player's perspective too.
Right.
You cannot wear people out. Right now, what the NFL is doing is a lot. It's tapped out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's tapped out. These are grown men.
Right.
These are grown men who are making a decision, making money, who are insured. I mean, there's so many things that are happening here with franchises that are multi-billion dollar. And there are teams like in Alabama, but as much as there's in Alabama, there's a Bowling Green.
Yes.
And Bowling Green ain't making no money.
Yeah.
And I will say, travel really does take a toll on you in the middle of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when you start in counterpart to what I said earlier about, we need to have these games in Ireland, the more travel you do, the more it's going to stack up.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that the LA Chargers are going to travel a total of 20,000 miles this season.
Wow. That's insane.
Well, here's the deal.
That's insane.
And guess what? Well, I mean, and they're all, they're in LA. But my thing is about the NFL is there's a revenue share. There's a situation in place where it's equal across the board. The NCAA isn't that. Will never be that. No. In fact, the NCAA might not even exist at some point. Okay. They hardly exist now.
Yeah.
And that's why we saw the disastrous situation that has taken place with name, image, and likeness, because there was no regulation, there was no plan, there was no, here's how we're going to roll this out. Yeah. The Saints just said, we paying our guys, so y'all go ahead and get rid of us if you want to. And everyone said, oh, no, we're going to pay our guys too. Well, wait, and Alabama said, we've been paying our guys, but now we're going to do it out here so everyone can see it, right? And so, so everything just kind of came out in front. But until there's the Bowling Greens and the Marshalls and the South Alabamas, there ain't go play 16 games or however many games for what?
Right.
So that you got to think of everybody there.
And then a very outside shot, maybe an outside shot at a playoff where you play 2 to 3 more games, and so.
But even still,
it's a talking point.
But at some point, we're gonna have a group of 5 playoff. Let's be honest.
There's gonna be 2 different there's gonna be 2 different systems.
There's got to be.
There's gonna be the super conference system.
They're not playing for anything.
No, they're gonna be the super conferences. They're playing for one championship, and the group of 5 playing for the other. And at that point, it might be a group of 6, depending on what happens with the Pac-2.
I mean, the Big Ten. The other day, I heard someone say they were introing some sort of segment. They were like, "Well, Big Ten 18 strong," and I'm like, "I ain't got 18." I Googled. I'm like, "Dang, they got 18 teams." Like what? What are we doing? And so, listen, man, it's wild times right now out here. Speaking of wild times, we're gonna check in with our girl RL Schaefer here in just a minute. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide out in the Alabama heat today in practice, rolling along as the Tide gear up for that Week 1 game in Tallahassee, taking on the Seminoles. We'll have the latest injury updates, a preview of that game against FSU, and more. That's next. Stay with us. And welcome back in Southeast Sports Plus SGP. Same game parlay.
Yeah. They got to teach you about betting
You
still.
teach me so many things every day, and I also feel as though I also inform you of some things at times.
Yeah,
You do always inform us of things.
Yeah, I learned about hair earlier.
Yeah,
Blowouts.
hair. Listen. Okay. Let's just address this. Just address this really quick, guys. I got my hair done today. Bring Ariel, because she can understand this. All right, Ariel Schaefer is joining us from Birmingham. Ariel, before we talk about Alabama football, let's talk about something important, very important. When you first get your hair done, there is always a little bit of a shock factor. You especially get your highlights refreshed. That's what's happening right now. That's why, not why I was late to the show, but it was on my mind. Because I was like, okay, it's not strong. I love it. It's always when you get it refreshed that you're like, all right, dang. It's here. I did it. All right, now it's gotta just settle a little bit. Does this happen to blondes?
Like, yeah, especially with blondes, especially with me. Like,
Yeah.
when I go lighter, everyone's like, oh my God, you look so good. Did you do something different? Did I look bad before?
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
God. Like, everyone's
honestly,
like,
best
all
if guys say
shocked,
nothing.
you know?
Yeah, best if guys say nothing. That's for sure. So right
Yeah.
now, I'm just, it's settling right now is what I like to say. It's settling.
It looks very good.
You know
I was
what?
going to tell you off camera. It looks really good.
You know what? Tell me
I'll
on
just tell you
camera.
on
Tell me
camera,
on
looks
camera.
great.
Tell me on camera. Is anybody
Looks
looking and
great.
thinking something? Their opinion don't matter. So they just
I love
know.
it.
God.
Looks good.
Ariel, more importantly, you also look good, as always. Joining us from the studio there in Birmingham, CBS 42, our affiliate out of the Beham over the mountain. Ariel, you just ran back, as you always do for us. You're always hustling, always grinding. Just came back from Tuscaloosa, practiced there, which unlike what's happening in Knoxville, where you can't watch any practice, you actually were able to watch some practice. The new Kalen DeBoer era, they let us actually see some things. What did you see?
Yeah, the big story is that Jam Miller is out with a big old injury, and he just confirmed it, and multiple sources are reporting that he did dislocate his collarbone during the second scrimmage for Alabama over the weekend. The new thing, though, is that he did not have a procedure where we had little, little fix-in, but it wasn't surgery. That they did on Saturday night. That is something new. And the doctors told him it's going to be a fast recovery. And for me personally, I was just watching the running backs today and also who the heck is going to replace Jam Miller, because there's no timetable yet determined on his return, but a lot of people are saying he should be good to go by Georgia. Mm-hmm. So that's your third, fourth game into the season. He's definitely not going to be playing for that season opener. But I was watching Richard Young, Daniel Hill, and Dre Washington. That's the order of the running backs of what they were taking throughout the drills. That was who was going first, second, and third. Yeah. So those are your top three guys right now. I'm just kind of watching them interact with Ty Simpson. Mm-hmm. But, Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb have been through this before. Actually, 2 seasons ago at Washington, their top running back went out with a season-ending injury. Their backup ended up rushing for 1,000 yards and 16 rushing touchdowns this season. So Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, they've been through stuff like this before, so they're not worried. Of course, the only thing that's going to stink right now is you're not going to have the leadership that Jam Miller does bring in, that experience. But, they're sad, but they're not worried.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Just in college football, but especially in the SEC, you hate to see this in scrimmages. You hate to see this early before they even start to kick off. But it is the next man up mentality. Gerhard, I'm not asking you to be a doctor, but I know that as football players, that AC joint, that collarbone situation, the recovery on that. Have you ever witnessed a situation like that? I feel like one time when I saw it with my husband's football team, and I heard about the backlash and the repercussions of that, it was way more significant than what I really knew it would be.
Yeah, it's such a sensitive muscle, and also the level and how much it breaks. That is like the biggest determining factor of when you can come back to the field. Because just like Ariel said, it's dislocated, it's fractured, but it's not broken. Yeah. Because between those two worlds, just depending on how much it takes for you to come back, we saw this in NASCAR just the other day with Connor Zilic in the Xfinity Series. Yeah. He fell, and it's a lot more severe. Sure, and there might be a chance he can put a plate in there and get back to it, but it does seem like Jam Miller suffered what is going to be on the lighter side of what could be a very serious injury. And so I think that with that said, then there is a lot of positivity that he could come back a lot sooner than if he had a clean break of a very sensitive muscle. Muscle. Yeah. It's very sensitive bone.
Yeah. Ariel, was there someone specifically in the running back room? I know you were there that maybe just looked like the person that was kind of taking over the main role, so to speak. Is he going to be running back by committee? What's that going to look like?
Richard Young and Daniel Hill are the two guys that I was just seeing a lot of reps from. And those are the two guys that Brian Grubb was talking about, their development. Caden Proctor, we got to talk to him today. Those were the two guys that he's seen in practice step up over the past 2 days. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be Alabama's 1-2 punch right now in the backfield, because Grubb still wants to run the ball. He doesn't want to be a quarterback run offense. That's what he said today. He was like, no offense to Jalen Milroe, and he did a great job, but that's not necessarily what we're leaning towards. It's more they want to get some business done in the backfield. Sure. And I mean, they got a big old offensive line, so why not? Yeah. And that's what the offensive line has been working on too. But I mean, you can see right there in the video, the tight ends are going to be highly involved in the offense. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about running back's perspective, Richard Young and Daniel Hill are going to probably be that 1-2 punch I would expect for the season opener at Florida State.
Yeah, Ariel, we know we got some sound in from Ryan Grubb a little while ago from when you were in T-Town. Let's take a listen to Alabama's offensive coordinator.
Seen a lot. Daniel Hill has done a good job providing a lot of protection, and I think he's gotten a lot better at that as far as with his eyes. He's a super physical guy. I think Daniel has started to run like the back we saw in the spring. Early in camp, I thought he was a little bit slow to come to that. Dre has great vision running the football. He improves every day still. I think some of the pass protection responsibilities are things that probably were not in his wheelhouse prior to getting here. Kevin Riley has started to show up a little bit. He's a guy that has really nice vision. Not as big a back as the other guys, but runs very physical and is really good out of the backfield.
I mean, so to your point, Ariel, he sounds very confident. I mean, he did not sound like at all where he was, that they were going to either change a game plan, that they were going to run less against Florida State. It sounds like to me it's not a matter of how much they decide to run. It's literally who's on the other side of that handoff from Ty Simpson coming into that Florida State game.
Yeah, it's all business as usual for Alabama. They're not going to pivot in any certain way. They have a really good idea of who they are identity-wise. The offensive line right there, that's Jaden Roberts. He's out right now with a concussion. They do expect him to be back by Florida State. He's just right now going through a concussion protocol. Other injuries, the only other guy that's notable is defensive lineman James Smith. He's out currently right now. Nothing too serious. They expect both of those linemen to be back by Florida State. But, yeah, I mean, they're business as usual, and they have a lot of depth in a lot of these positions too. I don't think there is a position this year for Alabama where you're like, oh gosh, if this person comes in this backup, they're doomed. No, it's not like that this year. No, he sounds very confident, and we were all just asking him, like, are you guys okay? Like, how's Jam feeling? He's like, Jam's great. His leadership is still there. It's just on the sidelines right now. And that's all they can hope for in someone who's been there for a long time and, wants to get back onto the field. And I don't think there should be any worry about getting that ground game going against Florida State.
Talking the other side of the ball, we know that Tim Keenan was on the All-America team that we were looking at yesterday. How does the defense look? I always know Kane Womack is going in year 2, coaching with what he would say one of his best friends in Kalen DeBoer, obviously the former South Alabama head coach. And then I also think that Kane has said several times this preseason, this offseason, that it's been a little bit of a readjusting, right? I think he came in kind of like saying, fresh out the gun and feeling really strong about everything. And then you have to learn a little bit about what everything in the SEC, what it entails to be coaching against some of the best defenses or offenses in the entire country. What have you taken away from Kane Womack this offseason and then from that defensive unit?
They're solid. They're together. They're in sync. And many of the players that we were talking to at Bama's Media Day about 2 weeks ago, when I was talking to guys like Justin Jefferson and Bray Hubbard, a safety that's going to step up, Keon Sabb is back healthy too. They got a lot of their main guys back healthy. It just came out 20 minutes ago that both Sabb and Deontay Lawson are up for Comeback Player of the Year. It's just they feel more comfortable in Womack's system. It's just like you're learning a new system in year 1. You're trying to go through the growing pains. You had a lot of guys go down with injury, but it's just they're ready. They've been preparing for Florida State's offense since week 1 of fall camp. That's one thing that Coach Womack made perfectly clear. We're not going through fundamentals. We don't have to anymore. We don't have to go through those growing pains. We're just focusing right now on Florida State. We got 4 extra weeks to prepare for them. And that's really just been the mindset. Nothing too crazy on that side of the ball, really. It's going to be solid. It's going to be physical. It's going to be fast. It's going to be big. And that linebacker unit, I keep on saying to her blue in the face, like that is going to be.
She likes that room.
It factor.
Yeah.
It factor for Alabama's defense this year.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about Deontay Lawson so much, and Craig Russaw. There was a guy that came out the same time Ryan Williams came out, and ironically, they played in the state championship game against one another. It's Jalen Mbakwe, and he got on the field last year and played well. But looking at their depth chart, this is the one by OurLads.com, so this is not the one from Alabama, but OurLads.com does a really good job, in my opinion, being able to kind of dissect parts of the team that you think have question marks on them.
Sure.
He's listed as the main specialist as far as kick returner and punt returner. What has been your viewpoint of him as he's been able to kind of go into his second year in college football? Because obviously he did not have the kind of season that Ryan did, because Ryan came out of high school straight to college football and ultimately shined. But Mbakwe, keep in mind, won the MVP of that state championship game, was on the same field as Ryan Williams, scored more touchdowns than him that day, and you could make an argument they're neck and neck as far as pure talent goes.
Absolutely. And Jalen Mbakwe is one of our kids, one of our local kids in Birmingham out of Clay Chalkville. And we got to watch him. He was quarterback in that state championship game. He's
that game was something, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, still to this day, it's one of the best high school football games I've ever covered here in Birmingham. But we asked Coach Grubb today, like, how's Bach doing with transitioning to that receiver position, and how is he doing on the specials? And he's doing just really fantastic. The one thing that they've been working on with him is, like, you got to catch the ball. He thinks too much right now. He wants to go full speed, like kind of how Ryan Williams is. Like, he's got a motor, and if you tell him to go, he'll just go. Like, he's gone. And that's something that they were trying to teach Mbakwe is, like, hey, you got to slow down for a second, think about, and where the heck is the ball? And I think that's why he's right now listed with specials being that top guy in the return, because he's fast, he knows how to execute, and he's got a motor. It's just trying to take him to slow down and make that adjustment. But he's been doing really, really well. They've been very, very impressed, and that could be a secret weapon.
And I think part of it, too, is that, let's not forget the guy jumped in the portal.
Yes.
He jumped in the portal during the offseason.
For like
and
2
he came out
seconds.
2 seconds, saying, put me on their side, guys. Give me the ball. I mean, they're going to make it work, whether he's catching it from a punt or catching it from a quarterback. He said, give me the ball, or I'm going somewhere else.
So did Katie Proctor.
Katie Proctor actually did go, and then he came back.
Yeah, he literally was like,
I'm not hating on the kid. I'm saying, like, he said, like, I want to have a bigger role. I want to have a different role. I wasn't in the room. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I have eyeballs.
Yeah.
So something was said.
So funny, because I remember that day, like, it came, like, my show the Tuesday was like Jalen Mbakwe in portal, sigh. Like, that was a slug name. And then literally the 24 hours later, I said, Mbakwe says RTR and psych. Like, that was a slug name. Like, it was literally within a matter of 24 hours that this kid was like, yeah, I'm back.
Give me my
and
money.
then, when you think about him and Ryan Williams from an NIL perspective, they are doing that New Wave podcast, and they're the future, really, of Alabama and those NIL opportunities. So it makes sense on why the kid, came back, and I think the kid got paid, to be honest.
Yeah, I
think he got paid.
He didn't come back because they gave him a Kit Kat. I mean, they did something. I mean, like, but I do think that the dynamics, as we watched play out there in Tuscaloosa a couple Decembers ago, it feels like a really long time. It wasn't a couple Decembers ago. When was it?
Yeah, it was a couple Decembers ago.
It was a couple Decembers ago.
Sarah Lane played Parker last year and Clay Chalkville the year before that.
Yeah, okay, it was 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was a couple Decembers ago. That was an unbelievable game. I think that the truth of the matter is Jalen Mbakwe is an elite talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ryan Williams is a generational talent.
Yeah.
They might have different. I think that they work together, like you said. Obviously, they have the show. They came out at the same time. That was a beautiful thing to tee up, especially given that Ariel covered Jalen Mbakwe.
Yep.
But I do think one of them is on the cover of college football, and one of them is an unbelievable great talent. That doesn't mean he's not going to go be a top round pick, a first round pick someday.
Right.
Ryan Williams is different, although I do sometimes wonder if he was the guy for Mr. Football 2 years in a row, or if Jalen Mbakwe should have been the guy.
Should have been, Like
in my opinion, you win the game. You win the game. How do you not win that? How do you not win that one?
And score more touchdowns and score the essentially the game winner.
Man, and their coach had a day on social media about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
he
did. And
Big
it's just
time.
like also you have to ask the question of, I mean, the guy like literally was playing a position that he had no intention
He
of
was playing
moving
both
on to
ways,
the next
bro.
level
Yeah.
in.
He was defending Ryan on the play when they were trying to get him the ball, and then KJ ended up tucking and running, and they didn't get the ball, didn't even try for Ryan there in the corner of the end zone going in that one side. And Jalen Mbakwe was the guy guarding him.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they went 2 for 10 in terms of touchdowns, which was like, bro, like this detract me. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But
it was crazy. I mean, I just remember the one moment like Bach just when the time ran out in Clay Chalkville, they're all running onto the field that they won state, and just Bach was not anywhere near the celebration. He was just sat down in the middle of the field. The little media friends who came around him because he just was like looking like,
wow, what just happened?
Oh, we just did it! Holy crap!
Yeah,
we just
it's
did
true.
that.
And it's so ironic because that game was at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and we all thought that maybe Ryan would reclassify because at the time Ryan was a junior. He was a younger guy, so we thought maybe Ryan would reclassify and be right back here, and we didn't put 2 and 2 together that Jalen would do the same thing, and now they're here as leaders of a team that has a good chance of being a college football playoff team.
Yeah, it is certainly something. And I think the biggest thing for us in state is that, we get to go see these guys do big things at a big level. And so kudos to both of them. I'm glad they're both there still, and hopefully we get to see them in a Crimson Tide uniform for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And just think about the personnel and the celebrities that were at that game. You had Steve Sarkisian flew up from Austin to go to that game.
Yeah.
You had Hugh Freeze, Trent Dilfer from UAB was there. Like everybody anybody college coaching, and gosh, was
that Charlie Kelly was there for? Charles Kelly was at Colorado at the time, and now he's Jacksonville State's head coach. He coached for Saban, coached for Gus Malzahn, as you mentioned. Yeah, it was packed.
Yeah. Anybody who was anybody was at that game, and I just was like, wow, I feel cool because I'm at that game, so I guess I'm somebody too.
You and Gerhard were at that game, killing it, guys. Always killing it. Ariel Schaefer, we appreciate your time, your hustle as always, ma'am. Getting from T-Town there to the Ham and joining Southeast Sports Plus. Looking forward to game week next week as we inch closer to that big one against Florida State. It's going to be the 30th of August. It feels like it's right around the corner.
Man, time needs to stop.
Let's not forget that Gus Malzahn's the offensive coordinator. We're going to dissect that at some point.
Gus Bus. The Gus Bus.
The Gus Bus. NASCAR. All right, guys. We're going to hit a quick break. Ariel Schaefer, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks, guys.
I had forgotten about Gus being the offensive coordinator in Florida State.
Can he do it again? Can he rip Alabama's hearts out?
Somebody posted and said, I'm not worried about Florida State, but if I am, it's because of this guy. And it was Gus Malzahn wearing that dang visor.
And chewing that bubble gum.
We'll be right back. the GOAT, says he's done. Doesn't matter what Patrick Walsh tries to report from SEC media days. Nick Saban is not coming back to coaching, he says, and that is the final, at least for the moment, because all things are ever changing in the current state of college athletics. If we go back to a few weeks ago in Atlanta, where this really story started from was Greg McElroy, of course, the former Alabama quarterback, well known. Now he's a sportscaster. Said on his show, and sometimes people just drop some information to make some headlines, and I'm not against it. I think sometimes people get carried away in conversations. Certainly, I do that. Right? It happens. Whatever. And and Greg McElroy said that he had it on good record from a good source that Nick Saban might try his hand at coaching again. So everyone hit the panic button. Oh man, Nick Saban who just won an Emmy for being a college broadcaster announcer there on game day, doing an unbelievable job there, just as good as he was. I mean, he is fascinating to listen to. I love what he brings to that show. We kind of all hit the panic button, like, we're gonna see Coach back. Everyone's got storylines. We can send Patrick out to go, get a one-on-one interview with Greg McElroy, and Greg's like, and he looks at Patrick and kind of hedges his bet a little bit. He's like, Patrick, well, to be honest with you, that kind of just became its own thing. And we're like, Greg,
yeah.
Come on, dog.
And Greg's been in the media space for so long where I think that he knew what he was doing. It's like, hey, throw a little. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have a guy that might be really good friends with Nick Saban, maybe from the car industry or whatever, and said that,
is that Miss Terry? Because unless it's Miss Terry, I'm believing nothing.
It's not happening.
Well,
not happening.
Patrick, in your conversation with Greg, didn't you feel like he was doing the
PR?
Well, I'm not really sure about the severity of the seriousness of this.
Kind of, it reminded me of this might be a bad analogy. It reminded me of a middle school relationship where it's like, this guy's the worst. This is the worst boyfriend ever. And then you think about it and it's like, man, I shouldn't have said that.
That's a great analogy, actually. That's a great analogy. I can think it's a great analogy, and I think it's very spot on. I think that he got a little extra.
He did, but I think both things can be true. I do think that Greg McElroy can have a friend that's close to Nick Saban that says that Nick Saban wants to coach again. And the fact that, in my opinion, I think that Nick Saban is at least at the back of his brain thinking about it. Because the same voice that said, I am not going back to coaching, once stood in front of a field of reporters in Miami, Florida, and said, I'm not going to be the coach at Alabama. So, I mean, I'm just saying
that did happen.
I'm not saying that it's...
And then he was on that plane.
And then a little bit later on...
Waiting everybody in town.
A little on, Mal Moore was like, the next head coach of the University of Alabama, Nick Saban.
Here I am.
And then 6 national championships later, he's now the greatest of all time.
Nick Saban said, prior to what Nick Saban said this week, Nick Saban said the other day, he said, I have not thought about getting back into coaching until recently when Miss Terry asked me to sweep the entire downstairs. And as I was sweeping the floors, it dawned on me, I have a boss here. I don't get to call the shots here. He said that was the first time I have thought about going back into coaching because I was like, hey, this ain't all that fun.
He's like, I get to control my roster. I get to call the plays on third down.
Yeah.
If we're down by 1 point in a 2-point game, Miss Terry's not telling me what to do.
Yeah.
I get to decide if we're going to kick the extra point, if we're going to kick the extra point for the tie, or go for the win. And here I am with this broom in my hands, and I haven't had one in the last 50-plus years of my life.
Here's my thing, bro. You rich coach, get a Roomba dog, hit that button and just keep rolling, man. If you sweeping, you probably doing it right. But Miss Terry's probably like, you know what? He's such a perfectionist. He does it better than the robot.
Right.
He does it better than the robot.
Yeah.
So I don't care what those things cost. $2 grand, $3 grand, whatever. So over again, this all started from Greg McElroy, and then Nick Saban was asked by our good friend Lawrence Sisler. And he kind of took a joking shot, so to speak, at Greg McElroy.
Yeah, he did. He said that if Greg McElroy was a player, if he was one of our players and said this, he would have got his kicked. And I thought that was a hilarious tone because, and Patrick put this perfectly, that is Coach Saban coming right back out again. So
you can't take it out of him.
No,
he is. Yeah.
Even though they're both, think about it, both of them right now are in the content space. Coach is on the College Game Day show. Greg McElroy's got his radio show. So they're both in the content game, but Saban was talking about
Greg's in the content game. Nick Saban's Nick Saban. Because Nick Saban ain't in the content game. That guy just shows up. He goes to SEC Media Days. He doesn't even show up. He didn't come. I was like, hey, where's Coach Saban? It's Media Days. It's SEC Media Days.
He just got to sit next to Pat McAfee and just look nice.
Now, Pat McAfee in the content game.
Yeah, he is in the content game.
He got to create some content. Nick Saban, he in the content. He ain't content creating. He is the content. He shows up. All you got to do is just sit there.
Listen to me. Listen.
It's an aura is the content.
Aura.
But no, they're both in the space of talking behind microphones, and Nick Saban immediately went back to Coach Saban.
That I agree with.
I mean,
went to Coach
there's a
Saban.
reason why there's a giant montage on YouTube of Nick Saban coaching and being a hard coach.
Yeah.
And this is exactly like where this example, what he said about the whole Greg McElroy situation.
Yeah.
It just reminded me so much of that.
He's a coach now. He's a coach again. And I promise you, and what happened at SEC Media Days is that what fanned the flames is that very same day, Lane Kiffin came out and said, I'm actually surprised that he's still in coaching right now. I thought he'd be out of here by then. I thought he'd spend 1 year out of coaching and he'd be right back in. So then one of his quarterbacks says it. Then one of his assistant coaches says it. And so then it kind of like, not gave it credence, but it made people think, is this a possibility? Is this something that could happen? And we'll see. I'm still not throwing it out.
This is something that he explained as Rye walked away from the sidelines. Saban explained, there's after the loss against Michigan and Coach Harbaugh that he took a hard look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. As we know, Michigan cheated that entire year. This is what he said, quote, so Michigan cheating is what ended up, he just throwing the towel. Thank you, Connor Stallions, for retiring the greatest coach of college football. Quote, working 14 hours a day, the recruiting, the changes that we're going through in college football, the challenges that are presented was a little much at my age. And last year I coached, and last game I coached against your buddy Jim Harbaugh was really, really difficult. So I thought it was the right time. And as we know, Nick Saban's, I don't think that his reasoning has changed. I think that he has said different things, and I think that the more that he spends time, vacuuming, the more he has time to think about why it is that he walked away. But I think the biggest thing is changes. And I think he just decided, hey, I'm good. I have done everything that I can do. And this is someone else's game now. And he seems pretty happy.
He does seem happy. And I think with all these coaches, there is a certain advancement that you want, a certain advancement that you like. So Coach Saban went from, he was the head coach at Michigan State, then he was an assistant coach for Bill Belichick with the Cleveland Browns, then he became the head coach at LSU. They're always seeking that next challenge. We've seen one of his best friends in the world, Bill Belichick, seek that next challenge. Got essentially kind of pushed out of the NFL, and now he's coaching college football. He wanted another challenge. Jim Harbaugh goes from the college ranks to the pro ranks. Is it out of the realm of possibility that Nick Saban is not like, I want to get back into football, and since basically college football is pro football with GMs and salary caps and everything else, he gets back into the pros, and the biggest thing, and what he wants to do one time, beat Jim Harbaugh and go coach a team that plays the Chargers. I just with these people that love challenges for themselves and these people who are self-motivated and self-driven, I just don't.
That's why he plays golf.
And there's only so much that golf can do for you when you're not playing for a playcheck. You're playing in pro-ams. So
he don't need no money, dog.
You're making my point.
My point is though, it's like the challenge. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is in the league because he's got to be. Because they said, you ain't coming back over here for a minute.
And he knew
Bill Belichick got himself a young girlfriend. She said, I want to see you coach still. And the Patriots said he can't do it here anymore. So now he's over there trying to, keep things alive on Chapel Hill. We'll see how much longer that takes place, guys. We're going to hit a quick break. We'll have more in 2.5 minutes. Stay with us.
Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. I did play TPC Sawgrass on Sunday, and let me tell you, that was easily one of the craziest experiences I've ever had on a golf course. We're big fans of golf on this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I tell you what, I got this. It was a nice little. Let me get this.
Okay,
What is that?
Hold
on.
It's a complimentary bag tag.
Complimentary?
Oh,
yes.
Trust me, that was wrapped up in the cost, but it's nice.
Wrapped up in the cost.
Complimentary.
But it's got the year.
But, dang, look at that.
You can get the score you got on 17.
Did you do that? You get
I
engraved?
wanted to, but the guy kind of messed up and accidentally gave me the year. But honestly, you know what? It's fine. And did I hit the green?
On 17?
Let's see.
Is this the island green?
Okay,
Yep.
wait.
Oh no.
Oh, you can tell. You can tell
Womp,
that.
Did you put it in the drink?
I put it way left in the drink.
I have played enough golf with Patrick Walsh to know that if he does not hold his follow through, so to
This is a
speak,
nice
there,
putt, by the way.
to kind of drop it, then you can tell he does not like the shot at all. Let's take a moment of pause as you continue to roll these highlights, Patrick, and give credit to the real goat, and that is Miss Kenzie Parker, who sat here and got video of every one of your shots, bad,
Every
good, or
single
ugly,
one.
and she's probably still said how great of a job. This woman,
Walked
this
18
woman,
and photographed
Now, she did
18.
just get a very pretty ring. However,
He walked.
she's been dedicated to like the golf girlfriend level, now golf fiance, like with commitment that is unwavered, man. You better have an unbelievable wedding. Because she deserves it.
Hey, ironically enough, TPC Sawgrass does do weddings. And, you know, we look. There was one there that day.
Oh, yeah,
and we were like,
okay.
you know, let's
I'm
just
sure they
look.
say booked up. Yeah.
It says inquire for price.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
You have
That's
to
when
be.
you go to the restaurant, and they're like, it's market price. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna take the salad. I'm gonna take the chicken Caesar salad.
The market price.
I'm not gonna take the market price steak. But shout out to Kenzie Parker for going and walking like 8 miles. How long was it?
8.9 miles is
Yeah,
what my whoop said.
TPC
Your whoop?
Sawgrass.
Yes, my whoop. Very healthy here.
Apple Watch life for life.
Shadur Sanders.
Likewise.
Perfect timing.
Maybe.
Whoop it up, guys. Kenzie Parker, the goat of them all.
Yep, certainly is.
That's it. Thanks for joining us. Southeast Sports Plus. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 to 4.